All right, guys, we are live on YouTube. So make your way down to YouTube. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976, allowances made for the fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing nonprofit educational or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair. All topics are for entertainment purposes only. None of the information presented in this video or by B-Girl TV should be taken as fact. Every situation is based on personal experience. The Image Boutique is located in the Centro Comercial de los Pueblos Mall, located in Panama City, just 15 minutes away from Tocumen Airport. We specialize in hair care, wig extensions, and much more. Come visit us. Hello, V Squad. Welcome back to Tuesday's Live. I know that we're supposed to start on time, but we've had a man. Hello, Evelino. Hello, GS. Hello, Sanet. And everybody else who is coming in later, because I know that the time was a little bit off. Before we start, I want to make sure that the audio is working. Can you guys hear me? I want to make sure that you guys can hear me crystal clear. Let me know in the comment sections if you can hear me, okay? Because we want to make sure that you guys get everything, all the information that you want today. I know plenty of you have been messaging me prior to this interview, letting me know how much you were looking forward to this. So we're going to wait a few minutes for more people to come in because, you guys are always late, right? For those of you who are on Instagram, I just need you to know that in order for you to hear the full interview, you have to be on YouTube. So go to V-Girl TV right now. We are live on V-Girl TV Live. Okay, so in order for you to interact with us, the ones that are on Instagram, you have to make your way down to YouTube. Okay. All right. So while we wait for more people to get in, I do want to share some announcements before we start. All right, so first things first, guys, for those of you who are planning or you want to move to Panama, don't forget my webinar is coming up next week, May 8th. You can sign up for the webinar. It's everything that you need to know about moving to Panama. If you are interested in that, it's going to be a lot. It's going to be a wealth of information. And you guys know that I always keep it real on this channel. So go to vgirltv.com to get your tickets. And yeah, so that's about it. Okay, so we're not gonna hold on. Hi Danilo, si quieres entrar en el live tienes que meter en V-Girl TV en YouTube, porque aquí en YouTube Live, Instagram Live, no puede compartir aquí. Tiene que ir a YouTube. Okay? All right. All right. So, as you guys know, okay, I always try to bring guests on here that have been very influential in the Panamanian community. More, if you either lived in Panama or Panamanian, you have to have some sort of influence. And this guest is actually, first of all, there's so I don't even know what to say, okay, because there's so much things that I want to get out, but we have so little time. But I want to introduce him as Gringo Man. He is the original La Semilla de Reggaeton, the seed of Reggaeton. I'm gonna introduce him. So welcome Jaime Gringo Man to the channel. Everybody in the comment section, please give him a warm welcome. Okay, so first of all, I want to say thank you for even taking time to come on the channel. My mother was the one that was like, "You have to get him on. You have to get him on." So I just want to say thank you for taking the time to come on my little old channel. You know, I don't have a million followers yet, but you took the time to be here. So I just want to say thank you for that.
You know, I want to say something about what you just said. Like what I tell everybody, before a person can get 1 million followers, they had one follower. So
Uh
don't
huh.
worry about that. Don't worry about that. When it comes to math, you have to start with one, then two,
Yes.
then three, and got to 1 million. So you
Yes.
on your way. You on your way there.
Thank you. So I want to start for those of you who don't know who you are, because I do have followers. There's a lot of Panamanians in here right now, but there are people in here that are not necessarily from Panama, so they don't know who you are. So I want you to go in and just let them know who you are.
You know, like I just went to Puerto Rico December 15th, but on December 17th, in we singing Yandel's concert, they invited me with Baby Rasta and Gringo. And unbeknownst to me that they know their history,
Mm-hmm.
they introduced me as the seed of reggaeton. And they explained to everybody when we talk about reggaeton from the roots, this man is the seed because
Mm-hmm.
they got a lot of their music and their styles and their mixes from New York.
Mm-hmm.
You don't realize. I tell everybody, you know, Panamanians, it doesn't matter if I was in Panama or I was in China, I'm still Panamanian.
Exactly.
See, reggaeton comes from the contribution of the black ethnic culture of the Republic of Panama,
But before we get into that, I want to ask you, what part of Panama are you actually from? Are you from the city or are you from Colón or Bocas?
from the city, from the city,
What part of the
Riabao,
city?
Riabao Calle 15.
Okay, there you go. Okay, so you grew up in Riabajo. But I like to always get the background of my guests. So you grew up in Riabajo,
Yeah,
right?
uh-huh.
What school did you go to?
Right across the street, 15th Street, República de Haití,
Wow.
Republic of Haiti.
Okay, so at what point did you realize that you wanted to be in the music industry?
Um, Back in 1980, when my brother used to have his parties in Brooklyn. Because we came up May 16, 1979. We came up May 16, 1979. And in 1980, that's when I realized I used to watch it mix and, I used to like that.
Now, did you actually want to go to America, well, to the States, or it was something that was forced upon you?
It really wasn't forced upon me, but I wanted to go where my parents was at. My
Okay,
parents left Panama, my father and mother, and they was in the United States. So as a child, you want to go where your parents at.
right. So at what age did you migrate to the States? How old were you?
10 years old.
Okay. So now you resided in Brooklyn. And for those of you who don't know, there is a huge Panamanian population in Brooklyn, New York. Okay. Mostly all the Panamanians that leave Panama, they always, for some reason, they assimilate in Brooklyn, New York before they go their separate ways. Or for the most part, they just stay in Brooklyn. So was that the case for you? You end up staying in Brooklyn or did you go someplace else?
I stayed in Brooklyn,
Okay.
Flatbush.
Whoa.
Flatbush is where is that?
What part of Flatbush? Let me find
Uh,
out you was on Parkside.
nah, 21st, Ditmas and Newkirk.
Okay, yes, that's Panamanianville also. Newkirk. All
Yeah,
right. So around that time, there was a huge influence of Jamaicans also that came to Brooklyn at that time.
yes,
So was that did that play into you wanting to be part of the music industry as well?
very much, very much.
In what sense?
I mean, you go to school, you're surrounded by it. You in you in junior high school, you were in elementary, PS 268, and everybody in there, they either doing hip hop or they're writing reggae songs, and so it's gonna be embedded in you
Right.
because you want to be just like them. And then when I go home, my brothers are doing, playing music and they're doing parties. So right there, that grows straight into you. And then from even in Panama, your parents playing music, so it's becomes part of you.
Okay. And so what was your actually foot in the door? So now you're grown up, you seeing your brother playing music. I'm assuming that they were in what was it, Panamanian parties or they were in like Jamaican
No,
parties?
Panamanian parties.
Playing music in Panamanian parties?
Yes, and they used to play. My idea came from they used to play Tabu Combo. So when they
Mm-hmm.
play Tabu Combo, I used to see them bring the music down, whoop, and then the Panamanian will improvise, not know what they're saying in Haitian,
Yes.
they say it in
Uh-huh.
Spanish. So I used to be like, wow, So then my brother be like, close the door. So now from there, they changed to reggae music, and then they'll be improvising. So I got the idea. I said, let me see if I can do Spanish on the reggae, and I started doing it like that. And that's where my idea came from.
Okay. What year was that when you started singing Spanish in well, reggae
81,
in Spanish?
1981.
1981. And what were people thinking? Like, okay, why who is this man? Like what are they
All right.
saying?
They used to say, I don't know what he's saying, but he sound good.
Hmm.
See, that's all they was to say. I don't know what he's saying, but he sound good.
So what did you sing? Like in school, talent shows, like
We
where?
were singing. We would have hooky parties. We'll leave
Mm,
school and go to the hooky. You say you know about it.
mm-hmm,
We'll go to the
mm-hmm.
hooky parties, and then we'll come with it. We got the record. Somebody else got the echo chamber. Somebody's got the microphone, or we got everything. So if the party don't have it, we have it. And then we start from there.
What high school did you go to? Erasmus?
No, I used to go, believe it or not, Lafayette High School in Coney Island.
What? That's so funny. I went to John Dewey. Obviously not during your time, but yeah, I know Lafayette High School.
I gotta put me
Okay.
in glass like
Because
that. Not like I'm
I'm
in prehistoric days.
I don't mean it like that. I'm just saying, I know where Lafayette High School is because I went to John
Yeah,
Dewey High School.
down the road from Dewey.
Exactly. All right. So you guys were having hooky parties. Who were the people? What cultures was actually embedded in these parties? Was there a bunch of Panamanians or was mostly what?
Like all nationalities, all national. You see, like when you went in high school in New York, it wasn't unless you go to a Panamanian party. That's a
Mm-hmm.
Panamanian party. When
Mm-hmm.
you go to these parties, it's everybody party. Everybody,
Mm-hmm.
all culture, the melting pot. Brooklyn was a melting pot, and that's what you would see.
All right. So then once you in these parties, you start singing reggae in Spanish, then what?
Huh? People start tearing down the place. Start tearing down the place. They say, I don't know what he's saying, but he's sounding good. That's
Did
all.
people know who Panama, like what Panama was or where Panama was? Because I feel like for me growing up, people never knew where Panama was. They didn't know what Panamanian
Nah,
was unless you were
even
Panamanian.
even like up to today, even up to today, when I tell people I'm Panamanian, they say, "Oh, Panama City." I said, "No, not Panama City, Florida." That's the
Mhm.
first thing comes to their mind.
Yeah.
So they say, "Where Panama?" I said, "Central America." And they be like, "Oh," I said, "Like right next to Colombia, right there, Central America, the Panama Canal." Oh, the Panama Canal. That's what I'll be like, "Wow."
Yeah.
You
And believe
see,
it or
and
not, it's
that
crazy.
happens. That happens to be part of lack of, you know, promotion from the Minister of Tourism.
Yeah.
You see, you could be in Panama and you think it's popping and it's all going. I'm over here.
Hmm.
You don't see none of that over here. Like you would see Jamaica, you always see on TV and everywhere. You see Puerto Rico all over the place.
Right.
Panama is not being represented. You see, so
At all.
that's why we came up with the song Panama Nice. It
Mm-hmm.
was made when I was incarcerated to promote Panama. You see, but when you try to promote it and a person asks you for the song, then they fall back and they don't follow through with what they requested.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I put it in my new EP.
Okay, so you started singing this music. People started to respect you. There was a point where your career actually made a turn when you started linking up with other Jamaican artists that were coming up during that time.
Yes.
How did that link come about?
In my building was a Guyanese guy named Langston. So his cousin came to stay with them. When the cousin stayed there, his name is Garvin Bishop, Flyer. Flyer is the owner for Earthquake High Power.
Mm-hmm.
Back then, that's a big sound system. You had Screechy Dan, you had Travis Sparks, you had James Bond, Knight Rider. You had some of the top artists in New York, in Brooklyn, were
Mm-hmm.
on that sound system.
Mm-hmm.
And my co-defendant, Culture Poppy, that's one of my teachers also, like Culture Poppy, James Bond, and Screechy Dan. Those three were my teachers. They showed me
Mm-hmm.
how to write. They showed me I do this one in Spanish right here, translate this, and they would show me all of that. All for Earthquake.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so you guys start writing, you start making music because there was a point in your career where you actually people were actually recognizing you for your music. You were on the cover. Was I think it was like Word Up magazine, if I'm not
Yes,
mistaken,
yeah, Word Up
because
Magazine.
Word Up magazine was actually a big publication back in the day.
That's the first hip hop magazine.
Mm-hmm.
First hip
Mm-hmm.
hop magazine. And then there was promoting the fact that I was signed to Sony. Sony Music.
Mm-hmm. So how did you get that deal? How did you at what point were you able to get that deal to be signed to Sony Records? Because that's a big deal. That's major, especially you coming from a country like Panama. People don't know much. They don't know about Panama.
All right.
How did that even happen?
I was in three markets at the same time. I was in the Latin market, I
Mm-hmm.
was in the American market, and I was in the Caribbean market. And I had a sound system called Baby Quake. That was my sound system. I had my own artists.
Mm-hmm.
We battled with Shaggy, Sting International. That was Shaggy producer. That was also my producer. So I was surrounded Mr. Do. You had Screechy. That all the top, Red Fox. A lot of the top artists were also going through Baby Quake sound system. So when your name is sounding, is ringing bells all over the place, and then you rapping in Spanish.
Mm-hmm.
Now you have to realize when you're the only person, and our people always try to say certain things, but I want to say something to you and to the public. When somebody says to you, "Oh, I was doing this," ask them when, where, what sound system, because when you ask anybody who was the first and who was the only person rapping reggae in Spanish in the heart of the dance hall, when it was really serious, it was only one person, Gringo Man. It was
And
Hanging Rings back then. It was
what year was that?
that started from 83 with Earthquake High Power going on up, then Baby Quake.
Okay.
See? And you had some other artists that are Panamanian, and I had to actually like school them and explain to them. You have Guyanese, Trinidadian from Barbados, and you Panamanian. And I said, now, how can I know that you're Panamanian if you rapping in English? How can you
Right.
stand out?
Right.
And one of the artists, he actually said, something, you're right. He said, Gringo, you're right. Sometimes I have to school them because back then, everybody was Jamaican. You pick
Yeah.
the microphone up, everybody's Jamaican, and you know it. You had
Mm-hmm.
dreads, you're Jamaican, but he's
Yeah.
Guyanese. You
Mm-hmm.
pick up the mic, you got the accent. Dance solid rummer from corner to corner. Come like, oh, you
Mm-hmm.
Jamaican. No, I'm Panamanian.
Mm-hmm.
You see? So I had to explain that to them. But now when this individual comes and he's doing profesional, this is Spanish. Then he's doing
Mm-hmm.
it in English.
Mm-hmm.
Where he from? Now you stand out from everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
You have everybody else here doing dancehall in English. And you got this one person over here. doing dancehall in English and Spanish, owner of a sound system. Who's gonna stand out?
You, the person who's speaking a whole nother language, because
And
everybody else is speaking English.
and and I had a movement. It was not only that, I had my own movement, the Baby Quake family movement, the sound with the most beautiful girls.
Mm-hmm.
You see, so to your question, what you're asking, I'm showing you this is the reason why I stood out so much. And that is the door that opened for when El General came. He came and he wanted to practice on the sound with the Panamanian, and it was Baby Quake. That's before he was El General, he was just Franco.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I have to explain to individuals. Michael Ellis, I was with him even before he signed the general, all of that. You see, because people don't see you, but they think I'm a promoter, producer. I don't have to grab mic just like now. I don't want to be on stage because you're not going to just pay me what you want to pay me.
Mm-hmm.
I know my value. You
Mm-hmm.
can respect me is if you will like it or not, plain and simple. And that's how I grew up like that, and everybody was looking for me back in the early 90s.
So I have a question though. Okay, so once you started your movement, were you in contact with anybody else back in Panama? Did you try to besides El General? It was just you. And were you in like the Jamaican? Because I know a lot of times, like, because this is me, right? A lot of times growing up in Brooklyn, when you're like a black Panamanian, like for me, and you have parents that are
Mhm.
descendants from Caribbean people, you kind of end up being closer more to Jamaicans than mostly Panamanians, unless it's like a
Yeah,
Panamanian party or something like that, right?
yeah,
And so, like for me, I was always either in a Trini party or I was always in a Jamaican party. So most of the times, most Panamanians wouldn't even know that I was even Panamanian because I was always around other people unless they knew who my mother was or something like that. Was that the same situation with you? Because
you
when
see,
I'm asking, I'm like, okay, well, I know that you were amongst the hardcore Jamaican people because once you start talking about sound clashes, that's hardcore dance hall.
right.
Okay, that's like that's the real stuff. So people in Panama don't know nothing about no sound clash at all. I think people now are starting to know more so about sound clash, but back then I wouldn't think that
Now
the Panamanians they didn't
you know
know.
why? Because that was the beginning.
Okay.
Like Baby Quick is a foundation sound system also. That
Hmm.
was the beginning.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Because dancehall sound systems started late 70s, going in early 80s.
Hmm.
So now all these sound systems that you start seeing coming 81, 82, 83, these are foundation. And
Okay.
I have a flyer. Baby Quake was the first sound system to integrate hip hop with dancehall, Lottie Dottie and Slim Thing. Nobody
Hmm.
did that before.
Hmm.
That's why
Hmm.
everybody said Baby Quake was a no holds bar sound system because
Hmm.
we mixed. We got Haitian, Spanish, we got white,
Mm.
we got all nationalities with us. You see, all nationalities. That's why our speaker box didn't have a flag. It had the Baby Quake logo,
Mm.
the baby coming out, with the dreads. That was Baby Quake, the baby earthquake.
Hmm. Do you want to explain what a sound system and sound clash are for people who don't know? Because some people might be lost.
All right.
Um,
You see, like I came to realize, like in Panama, they had like they call it like moving sound systems. So a sound system is like a DJ that got a lot of speakers.
mhm,
That's a sound system. He plays outdoors, but he also has his own artists. So now it's like a soccer game. Let's put it like a soccer game. Your
mhm,
soccer team versus my soccer team.
mhm,
It was my sound system with my artists versus your sound system with your artists. You see, and then we had special plates, special dub plates. Those are, let's say, for instance, when Buju Banton came out with Browning, you see,
mhm,
we got a dub plate with Browning. That is a
mhm,
special dub plate.
mhm,
So we have that. Like Baby Quake. Baby Quake has a lot of dub plates with even Bounty Killer, all of these sound systems. So when you start seeing that this sound system has all of these, Coco T, all of these dub plates, you no longer in this level. You over here.
mhm. Yeah.
You over here. And people would say, like, yo, he was too young. True indeed. But they have to know the history. I came off an earthquake. Baby quake is still what? Earthquake. Earthquake passed over baby earthquake to me. So that was already made sound system.
How old were you?
I was like going on 14, 13, going on 14.
Oh wow, you were a baby.
I was yeah, you see, and everybody said, but people that know me, even some Panamanians that know me from back then, that talk to me now, like, yo, I remember you as a little boy, you just a little baby. But
Uh-huh.
I always used to be like this, watching Flyer select, fix his records, and I used to be just there like this. And back then it wasn't like you a baby because you out there, you on the streets.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You out there on the streets, and they taught me a lot. They taught me a lot. Like my first duo, Culture Gary. We used to do the hip hop song. We did it dance. We did a dance of pan pan pan, speed it fast. Nobody was doing that. Well, I'm undercover myself. I never ever know other blondes. We used to do some crazy stuff that now we sit back and be like, wow. But that is what today is reggaeton. Because a lot of times when individuals like try to like, oh no, but the record don't sound like what a reggaeton to. I said, listen to my CD. The first hip hop and dancehall, merengue house and dancehall, all those fusions didn't exist when I put out my CD.
Mm-hmm.
You see, then I started hearing people mixing it, and of course, it gonna evolve. Of course, it's gonna evolve. But where you get the idea from? That's why when I went to Puerto Rico, they say, "Yo, that's the seed."
Mm-hmm. So what I'm getting right now, hearing you talking, is that you were in New York, in Brooklyn, doing your own thing, and you had no clue what they were doing in New York. I mean, I'm sorry, in Panama.
That's true.
That's basically what's happening. You were doing your own thing in New York. They whatever was going on in Panama, and no one ever communicated. Obviously, I would have. There weren't cell phones, and we didn't have
That's right.
technology back then, so no one really knew what each other was doing. So it makes sense to me now. All right. So now you are rising to fame. You're on Word Up Magazine. People are recognizing you. When you were on Word Up Magazine, you were not 14 years old at that time. You
Nah,
were much older,
yeah,
right?
much older. Okay.
Yeah. How old were you when you got on Word Up, and how did you get on Word Up?
I mean, the people when the people request you and everybody's looking for you. You see what I'm saying? Of course, they're gonna be like, "Yo, who's that?" You see,
Uh
what I'm saying?
huh.
Who's that? You see, and you really didn't know who I was because you only hear my name, and I could
Okay.
be right there next to you, and you still don't know that is me because I'm
Hmm.
always a low key individual. I don't like to be, braggadocious. That's just not me. Anybody that knows me knows that I'm laid back. My thing is I'm gonna promote a show. I'm gonna make some money. We're gonna take it to the next level. Always stay focused. I don't drink,
Okay.
don't smoke. That's just me.
So you were on Word Up Magazine as a rapper or as a promoter?
I was doing everything. You see,
But
because you gotta realize I'm the owner of Baby Quake High Power. I'm the
mhm.
promoter for Baby Quake High Power. I'm promoting and managing some of my artists.
Who
I'm
were some of the
also an
artists?
artist. I'm Screechy
Who?
Dan,
Okay.
James Bond, the first rock rock and roll and reggae rock and roll. That's called what's his name? Cooley Ranks. He was also on Baby Quake, Red Fox.
Mhm.
Red Fox. You had also Raven. Raven was also Baby. Also Medallion. That's now Mad Lion. A lot of these big artists
Yes.
came off of Baby Quake, and also on hip hop side, Stretch from Naughty by Nature. He sang
Yes.
on Church Avenue Street Scene 1991. He sang "You Down with OPP" and got
Yeah,
gun
you know
salute
me.
and that's where Michael Ellis, Mikey, came up with the word reggaeton. It's a big reggae. He called me right after that. And he said, Yo, Jaime, this is no longer reggae in Spanish. This is un reggae grande, como decimos en Panamá. Este es un reggaeton, un reggae grande.
So how do you feel about the Puerto Ricans saying that they were the ones that created that name, reggaeton?
You know, in every movement, you will always have one person let me tell you something. If you don't see nobody claiming something,
Mhm.
for a while, what you gonna do when you
Take
get
it.
to that point?
Well, I wouldn't do it, but people would just claim
That's what
something
people
that's not
do.
theirs. Yeah.
That's what people would do. But always remember, the truth don't need no support.
Mm-hmm.
And I always used to be sitting back where I was at, and I said, I want somebody to jump out and say that they are this person, because to be that person, you have to have a legacy. The streets got to know you, like everything what you asking me now. You see, and when I went to Puerto Rico, I mean, they gave me a presidential reception, and they let me know, hey, listen, even Baby Rasta and Gringo say, yo, you know that you were the Bad Bunny of back in those days. All of your records, all of them were hitting over here. Wherever you turn around was a Gringo Man song. When I went on DJ Urba Live, I was shocked when he said his favorite song was Mi Morena. Me gusta mi casa, pero yo amo mi. I said, wow, because not many people play that song. They only always asking for three, and then Ramajama. You see, so I learned a lot when I went down there to Puerto
Mm-hmm.
Rico, and they never hid it. They made it known to the world. This is the seed right here,
Mm-hmm.
and they
Mm-hmm.
said, we were just waiting to see when you would, if you would come down and whatever. And Emil Connection, he was like, hey, ven pa acá, yo te voy a traer pa acá, ven pa acá. We're gonna
Well,
work.
I know that there was because you sang a lot of songs that were the Jamaican versions in Spanish, like
Yeah,
Shabarang's Trelolo Regal in the Spanish version.
yeah.
What made you do that?
Now, the producers didn't want us to do our songs in Spanish. I
Okay.
was mad. You see what I'm saying? Because I wanted to do my own song in Spanish. And they
Uh-huh.
were like, nah, man. Because they said, listen, you did professional in Spanish and then you did it in English. And they seen the reaction when nobody had that reaction. And
Mm-hmm.
they see
Mm-hmm.
the reaction of the people. Once the people accept it, they certify it. So they said, whoa, if we take the hit songs and we turn them into Spanish, now that's more money for us.
Wait a minute. So it was the same Jamaican producers that was telling you to sing the Jamaican songs in Spanish?
Yes, yes,
What?
yes. Look at this. I did this song. What's his name? Barrington Levy and Cutty Ranks with El Tito. We did dancehall rock, dancehall rock in Spanish. He came looking for us. John Jalos, may he rest in peace. He came looking for us, and we recorded that song on the same track with Barrington Levy and Cutty Ranks, and we did ours right here, right here.
And the reason why I'm bringing this up and why this is important to be known is because there are a lot of, like, my daughter's godfather is a blogger. His name is Reggae Music Forever on Instagram. So
Yes.
he's Jamaican, and he blogs a lot about dancehall, reggae, etc., etc. And I see a lot of people in the comment section saying that, or even like one of the videos that I did on YouTube saying that, oh no, even Buju, as much as I love him,
All right.
I love
Stop
Buju.
right there. Stop right there.
Okay, I'm
When, when,
stopping.
when I came out, based on the interview that you did, somebody said, my brother sent it to me.
Uh,
Your interview. That's the first time that I came across who you are. And you were talking about the Buju. Then I found the Buju. They sent me the Buju, and I was listening to it.
mm-hmm,
So one of the members from Earthquake, he was like my big brother. His name is
mm-hmm,
Roots.
mm-hmm,
He's in Jamaica. So I called Roots. I said, yo, Roots, do me a favor. He said, what? I said, yo, link Buju for me. Now, I already came out on the front page of the Gleaner Entertainment,
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
reggaeton originator. You see what
Yeah.
I'm saying? So he said, I know Buju's father. I'm gonna go down to the studio, Gargamel studio. So he
Mm-hmm,
went with the newspaper, and his father took him into the studio, and Buju came out, and they told him, I said, hey, listen, Gringo want to talk to you. He's in the United States. Him saying, no, you. Boom, seen right here. So they showed in the newspaper. He's still not familiar with it. He's just looking at it, bam. So when he called and I answered the phone and said, yo, one Buju, I mean, Gringo. Remember back in 1990, 1992, January, One time, me and Slick Finger go talk to you and make you know, say, yo, all of your song, all of your tune, them I get rinsed out of New York. Him say, remember, are you? Me say, yes. Remember, I said, Amido Browning upstairs in a Spanish penthouse studio. Blood clot, are you that? I said, yes, I mean that. The founder of the reggaeton movement. But you know, at 29 years, but that prison just come out and, brethren, listen to what he said. Yo, if you want to do any mix of any one of my songs, you can do it. If you want to do a song with me, you can do it. You have me link. And he looked at my homeboy and said, yo, you have me link right here. So whatever Gringo want to do, yo, may I support you, brethren. May I support you. You see that? Because history is important. I just rewind and let him know, yo, we were the one that let you know your songs. And he went upstairs to Penthouse. And he was like, yo, our song, because he had a song again. They're like, Kesha calling up on it, but some young girl. That song was tearing up, Butcher's song. All of his songs was tearing up Brooklyn. But he didn't know. That's the same thing that was happening to me.
Mm-hmm.
See, when I was incarcerated, and the Puerto Rican was telling me, like, yo, that song, Michelle. I said, I don't got no song named Michelle. That's Pasaporte pa mi Cañón. But it's the same thing. And Buju realized right there what happened. You see, when you take the seed out, the history kind of get distorted.
Okay.
You see, so now all you seeing is individual that you never saw, never heard of, don't relate to. You see, because when I take the mic, like the song I said, gratitude song, and I say, the Lord is my light and my salvation. Hear my cries and answer my supplication. In time of trouble, Adam in your pavilion. Yo, that's in English. You see, so you know that I'm not Jamaican until I tell you that.
Okay, so I get where you come in.
That's what was missing in his eyes, in his mind. So when I spoke to him, I brought that back. And I said, yo, I'm a Panamanian. I mean this enough. He said, yo, Mr. Do. Mr. Do is a legend in music. That was my producer who took me down there. He's the one that did Rockers Island. With Nada Ranks also. Me, no, Rockers Island. Don't want to go to
Rockers Island. Whenever one go to Rockers Island.
Yeah. He did My Weapon with Ninja Man. Mr. Do is a legend. So he took me down there. So he said, yeah, man, Mr. Do. So that's where now he understood. You see, now if you was to talk to him again, guess what? The answer won't be the same.
Okay.
So now
I forgive him then.
Clarify that to let you know, because you have to realize, and everybody has to realize, you can't just blame the man like that either. You know, I want to chastise, because they took away, they wanted to erase reggaeton back in those days. Why? No music was integrating, unifying all the races.
Okay.
Like music.
Okay, so you were at the top of your prime and you ended up getting locked up right when you were about to go to Carnival.
Yes.
Right?
How you know that? You know a lot. Okay. Yeah.
This is V Girl TV. Okay.
Okay.
You were about to get ready to go to Carnival and then you ended up getting locked up.
Yeah.
Why were you locked up? Why did they, what was the charges they had against you?
You know, conspiracy, the murder of a federal officer, you know, and drugs, conspiracy to distribute drugs, and the murder of a federal officer. You know, but you gotta realize, when you are a promoter, you have different vehicles. And I'm gonna because a lot of the young kids, they still do it. They lend their vehicles out. You shouldn't lend your vehicle out. Because once you turn the key over and leave it with somebody else, you don't know what he or she gonna do with that vehicle. You see what I'm saying? And that's what caused my, early demise. But God brought me out.
How old were you when you were incarcerated?
23.
23 years old. I think that this is a story that it should be shared, because today you, tomorrow somebody else.
That's
right?
true. That's
And I
true.
feel like a lot of Panamanian people, especially like the days of my parents, especially, they don't like to talk about certain things. And a lot of times when you speak about certain things, you could prevent other people from experiencing those things or going through that same path.
That's right.
People, even with me, it's important to share information, especially to the youth. It's important to share things that you personally went through to the youth, because if you have the foundation, you can actually lead people so that they can have guidance, children, that is, the younger generation, so they don't fall into the same traps. And what people don't understand is that in America, especially when you are black in America, it doesn't matter if you Panamanian, you Haitian, you this, you that, you're still black at the end of the day. And I
And
need people to understand that.
one thing that I tell individual, I said, man, they watch Scarface, they watch The Godfather, but when they watch The Godfather, they don't watch the key element. The Godfather tells his kids, "You're gonna be a lawyer. You're gonna be
Mhm.
this."
Mhm.
Education. When you go to prison, I want the kids to understand this. Killers in prison, they don't respect killers. They
Mhm.
respect this, the educated.
Mhm.
Because you know what they tell me? Yo, Panna, I'm a killer. What the hell am I doing respecting another killer?
Right.
They said, but you could count with one hand the educated men around here like yourself. Look where I'm
Mhm.
at. I had to come hunt you down because I need help. I can't go hunt down a killer.
Right.
He can't do what he does the same thing I do, and I may do better than him.
Right.
So they got to realize that. And I want to show you something. I received a message not too long ago from a Spanish guy, and he said to me, Ringo, you might not remember me, but I just wanted to thank you because you saved my life. They were going to kill me. Everybody in the prison knew I was going to get killed except me, and that's how it used to be. And when I found out about it, I told my man, I said, negative. That is not going to happen. He said, Panda, don't get involved. I said, yes, I'm going to get involved. I said, nah, not on my watch. That is not going to, yo. And I saved his life. He
Mhm.
sent me a picture with him and his wife, and people think that you have to look a certain way to stop certain wars, stop certain incidents from happening. No, you just got to have this God in front, intelligent.
The reason why I'm actually bringing this up is because I feel like this was a huge turning point in your career, because you were at the top. You were literally at your prime. You were about
Yes,
to do carnival, which everybody knows, performing during carnival time, that's a big deal. You ended up getting locked up for something obviously that you did not do. For people who don't know, you were in prison falsely accused of something, which you should get his book, by the way, because he goes into details of exactly what happened. This is the book. Hold on, I want to share the book with you guys. Let me see if I can find it on the screen. Yeah, so while I'm getting the book, um, it's important for you guys to understand how much of this was a big deal. Once you got locked up, you weren't able to perform in Panama
that's
no
right.
more.
Nope.
So who performed your songs?
Um, Omar Pacheco, the producer, he ended up performing my songs. Again, you got to realize. See, now, why do you think I spoke with him? And I spoke to other artists that he didn't know I spoke to. They came to me and they pressured him to become me, to do my songs. He didn't want to do that. And I heard that from different artists that were backstage when they were pressuring him. Now you're gonna go up there and you're gonna do that man's song. You're gonna do that, you're gonna do those songs. You
The
see?
book, that's the book. It's kind of small, but it's called Visionary. So he didn't want to do the songs,
And let them know it's in English and it's
and
also in
it's
Spanish
the
also.
This is the book, guys. I don't know why it came out so small, but it's called Visionary. There's an English version and a Spanish version. If you can get it on Amazon, I'm actually gonna leave at the end of this. I'm gonna get the link and I'm gonna leave it in the description box so you guys can click the link and go ahead and purchase the book. I purchased the book as well. So you guys should
Thank you
definitely
very
check
much.
it out. It goes into details on how he was arrested, how everything played out. I don't want to give too much details because you guys need to go get the book. Period. Um, so he didn't want to, but did he also have your name as well?
Yeah, Gringo Man. You know, because this is what they hear when I say, "Well, I mean, my original Gringo Man." I'm actually saying my name is Gringo Man. I'm reaffirming that I'm Gringo. But when people hear it, they hear me saying, "Well, I mean, my original Gringo Man," but I'm not saying it's like saying V girl. Well, I mean, my original V girl woman. You see what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? You
Mm-hmm.
reaffirming that you V girl that woman.
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
see, so that's
Oh, okay.
you
Yeah.
see, like I mean, man, Mr. Do man. His name is Mr. Do, but it's saying Mr. Do man. He just that man is just to reaffirm that that is who he is,
Yes.
and that's how the name came about with the man, with the Gringo Man.
But gringo in English is American man. Who
There
gave
you
you that
go.
name?
You see, James Bond from Earthquake, he was part of Baby Quake. He gave me that name because, like, if you ever notice, like when I perform, I'm very aggressive. You see, I'm very aggressive when I'm performing, and I was crushing everything that was moving. I used to love to do competition, and they would call me for competitions.
Mm-hmm.
So James Bond say, "Oh, you know something? I'll call you Gringo the Bandit, you know." But why, West Indian culture,
Yeah.
we use like cowboys names,
Mm-hmm.
Bonanza, we use Batman, we use all these different, the mafia, we use. So he gave me Gringo the Bandit, a cowboy. That's what it really was. Gringo the Bandit is a cowboy.
Oh
But
my
then
God.
they then they took out one part and it just stayed Gringo. You see?
Wow, I did not, I was all over the place. Like I thought the reason why they called you Gringo Man is because you moved to the States and all of a sudden you are gringo. Because like I call myself La Gringa Panameña because they be like but people always like la gringa, la gringa. Even though I'm Panamanian, they say, "Oh, well you gringa because I lived in the States." So that's the reason why. Wow, that's completely different from what I thought. Completely different.
Yeah.
Okay, so this guy basically has the same name as you. He is performing like you, and you were incarcerated. Did you know any of this stuff was going on?
Not at first. I found out after my family was telling me.
That's kind of messed up. And how were you feeling? Like, because what
But
people don't understand is that you got 3 life sentences. So people probably thought you were
plus
never coming out
plus
of jail.
85 years. Plus 85 years.
So you weren't technically you were not supposed to come out of jail.
That's right.
So could it be that because they thought that you were never coming out of jail, they felt like, we got to seize this opportunity?
And that's why a lot of things, let me tell you something, that's why a lot of things in the whole movement, that distortion came out. That's why when I came out, look what I did. I didn't say nothing. 29 years, nobody saw the face of Mr. Tumpa Tumpa, Dennis the Menace, that legend that did all the beats. Who went and got him out of the cut? Gringo Man. He came out like this. I went and got Sting International, the one who made Shaggy. He's
Mm-hmm.
also the producer that produced El General's first 2 songs, Tu Pum Pum and Te Ves Bien Buena. It was not Carl Miller. It was Sting International. You see that?
This
Yes.
is a lot of bombs being dropped at one time.
You know what I'm saying? It was Sting
Wow.
International who produced those 2 songs. Because back then, the engineers were actually the producers. And the producers were the executive producers, the one who put the money. You see? That's why if you listen to El General's first 2 songs, they don't sound like the rest of the songs. And Sting International is the one that did the song Girls, You Look So Fine. All
Uh-huh.
the songs with It wasn't me with Shaggy. He's the one that took Shaggy to where he went.
Mm-hmm.
Sold the
Mm-hmm.
10 million copies. Sting International. Also, my producer, one of my producers. You see, so I go get him. He come out in an interview also with me. I go get Mr. Do, bring him out because no other artist could go get these individuals.
So, what I find interesting really about your case is that around the time that you were pardoned, because for people who don't know,
I see. I was not. Let me
okay,
say that I was
clarify
not
that.
pardoned. I was not pardoned because pardon is if I bump into you, pardon me,
Uh
like
huh.
excuse me. You
Uh huh.
committed the act, but I'm telling you I'm sorry,
Okay.
and you giving me a pass.
Okay.
What my lawyer and I was seeking was a petition for clemency.
Okay.
You
And
see,
for people who don't know what clemency is,
you see, it's forgiveness. You know, so for an act that you didn't do,
got it.
you're looking for mercy because
Okay.
I was destined to die in prison. I was
Correct.
3 life sentences plus 85 years, 29 years. You see, so she filed a petition for clemency, and it was granted on my innocence. It was granted on my innocence and put on the White House official page. Also, for everybody, I helped over 1,000 prisoners graduate and get their GED. Not 100, over 1,000. I've been to 12 prisons in the federal system. I help a lot of people get reductions of sentence and go home. I raised thousands of dollars for nonprofit organizations amongst prisoners in the prison. I cut off my dreads 29 and 3/4 inches long, donated to kids with cancer, and got other prisoners to cut their hair and donated to kids with cancer. You see, the Panamanian culture it's an influential culture. I want people to know that. And
Mhm.
Panamanians that came before me paved the way for me in the federal system also. That is something that people don't
Mm.
know. When you say you Panamanian in the federal system, the first thing a person said, "Oh, I'm my Panamanian homeboy, this one, my Panamanian homeboy," and that opens doors for you. You see that? The Panamanian culture has an influential. So I don't take credit for nothing. I tell individuals, God created a lot of Panamanians and put them before me. That when I came through, they're the ones that actually held me down.
Mhm.
You see, and that's where my foundation, the Fear Foundation, comes from.
Do you
You
know
know how,
Lewis Marshall?
huh?
Lewis Marshall.
Louis Marshall,
No.
not by name.
Well, Lewis Marshall was a oh my God, what do you call those people that are in charge of the jails in New York? He
Um,
was the oh my God, well, I can't even
the
think of
warden,
the ward. Yes,
the warden.
he was, and he's Panamanian as well. I had him on the show one time,
Okay.
and I think that you guys should connect. But anyway, um, okay, so you were in jail. People were performing your songs. You had no idea that people were performing your songs. And I want to clarify something else also. Did Kim Kardashian play a role in your release?
You see, you got to look at something from Alice Marie Johnson's mouth to my ears.
Okay.
She asked me, she said, "When you saw me come out, did you ever know that your freedom would have been linked to my freedom fight too?" I said, "No." It's like a domino effect.
Okay.
And she was working, Alice Marie Johnson was working still with Kim Kardashian.
Okay.
You see? So Kim Kardashian is the head. And she
Okay.
has all these other individuals that she working with doing what they doing. And she's
o-
helping them with her brand.
Okay.
You see, so through that door, she started getting, and Trump put her in a place to look for cases with clemency, long sentences, people unjust. And
Mm.
also, so my attorney sent the petition to Alice Marie Johnson, who's also working with Kim Kardashian.
Wow.
You see what I'm saying? So then Alice Marie Johnson's daughter goes on and change.org and finds my petition. She runs back to her mother, said, Mommy, Mommy, look, Jaime Davidson, he's innocent. Look at all this evidence. And my friend, Anjanette Dyer Monroe, you see, from Urban Roundtable, she's the one that actually put the petition out there. And sometimes she used to get frustrated because she said, man, nobody's signing up on. I said, listen, let me tell you something. The faith that I have in God, leave it there. No, but nobody. I said, Anjanette, leave it there. I said, when the time comes, it's going to serve its purpose.
Mm-hmm.
True indeed. Alice Marie Johnson saw it, her daughter. She ran, told her mother. Her mother said, she said to me, that name sounds familiar. Let me go. She went inside and she looked and she said, oh, the attorney, Bettina Shine, sent me this petition. And from her mouth to my ear, she said, Jaime, I said, this is God's work. I'm going to tie your case to my hip and I'm going to do everything under the sun to help get you out of here. And I'm going to tell you, I'm my attorney for 17 years.
Jesus.
And I mean, and this woman, she stayed with me and she's still with me. She's still with me till today. You see, and this is not a small law firm. This is a big law firm. And she stuck with me. And she's still with me today.
I don't know. I feel like I want to cry, but I'm not. I
So don't
think
do that.
I think that your story is something that everybody should know about. I didn't know about your story until one day I happened to be Googling one of your songs so I can download it onto iTunes
Yes.
because there's this thing called Shazam.
Yeah.
So a couple of years ago, my cousins came. They came to Panama, and we were having our little, parties, and we were trying to download music from back in the day that we used to play at my uncle's barbecue. And I'm like, wait, who sings this song? So I put Shazam on and it came out. When I came up on the thing, when it came up, I don't know if you know what Shazam is.
Yeah.
It's an app. Okay. So it comes up and then I went into, it said like something, I went into Google and then I seen your picture came up with the dreads and you had like a blue, like
outfit.
jumpsuit. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like a blue
That's
jumpsuit.
that's Lewisburg Penitentiary outfit.
Yes. So you had that on, and I was just like, wow, like who is this? Like, how come I never heard about that? And so it was something that nobody ever really spoke about. It was just like, oh, the Panamanian guy that he got locked up, but nobody ever really went into detail. So when you finally came out, my mom was like, oh, you need to interview him. And I was just like, okay, I'll try. He probably won't respond, but everything worked out. So I'm happy that it worked out because your story is something that needs to be heard, especially because people think, especially here in Panama, people have this perception about what America is, and they don't realize that no place is perfect, right?
Yeah.
And when you are of color, you are a target for certain things. So and it happens everywhere, not just only in the States. It happens in every country. It's just that America is so big, it gets like,
And
it's
you
on the
see,
spot.
that's why this the first week in May, I have a big meeting to be able to sit down with one of the government officials out here in Orange County because I want to, in the Orange County, Orlando area, I want to use this as the foundation to
Mm-hmm.
launch nationwide, but mainly out here in Orange County to stop a lot of the youth from going into prison.
Mm-hmm.
And the kids, the youth, they don't listen to individuals that never lived it. They're not
Right.
going to listen to the pastor, the councilman, the counselor, the congressman, because they never lived it. So I have a host of individuals that live that life, and
Mm-hmm.
they just sitting down waiting for me to start cranking up and get, let the youth them hear the truth, because a lot of these kids, when I met them inside there, they became gangbangers. They didn't know how I was going to be inside. They said, man, nobody never told me this. Nobody never told me that. That's all I
Yeah.
kept hearing. Nobody never told me this. So my thing is, I want to educate them through my foundation, the Fear Foundation to exonerate through habeas reform. You see, I'm going to start a whole new movement but I'm going to start it right here in Orlando.
Yeah.
You
I
know,
think it's something that needs to be done because growing up too, I had a friend that was um he was I think he was like 17 at the time and he was locked up for a very long time for something he also did not do either. So it's needed. It is needed. I want to go to the comments because there are people commenting for you. I don't know if you can see them. But Donna Kirkton says, Vanessa, thank you for bringing Gringo Man's story and his musical journey of reggaeton en Espanol to the masses. Awesome, awesomeness extraordinaire. Brooklyn, USA, Panama presente.
okay, thank you
Um,
very much.
uh, DJ Gary says, big up yourself, Jaime Ranks.
You see, that's that right there. That is my foreign partner. You see,
Okay.
that's history right there. We used to we. He's the one that reminded me of that song that we used to sing back in the day.
I don't know what happened. It froze. Hold on. Let me get him. I don't know what happened, guys. His computer froze. Um, let's get him back in. Let me get him back in. Let me call him because the interview is not over, guys. It is not over. Let me get him back in. All right, let's see. Hello?
Yeah,
Yeah, okay. You're back. Wonderful.
yeah. So Culture Gary, that is the one I was telling you about. Well, I'm undercover myself. I never ever know other blunt smoking down, sugar booty, shaking money, making back several. Man, listen.
History. And I'm
That's
glad that you're going back into that because one of our guests says, Gringo, explain who Jamaican artists, I'm going to say which Jamaican artists were part of the movement, of the reggaeton movement.
in New York. You see, you got to realize something. A movement is not just one. You see, it's just not. It's not just. It's not just isolated. You have different movements out there, but we all one. If anybody understands how Brooklyn is, you understand it because you had Champion LP, you have Gibraltar, um you have Sting International Sound System, you have Earthquake, Baby Quake, you have, I mean, so much massive sound, Addies. I mean, you have all these sound systems, but Baby Quake is the seed, the one with the Spanish reggae artist that everybody now looking for a Panamanian. That's the part that people don't realize.
Mm-hmm.
You see, in competition, when you have a Spanish reggae artist, guess what happens? The next sound system wants another Spanish reggae artist. You see, like
But they wanted another Panamanian.
that's how you see that's how the Panamanians came through the heart of the dance hall. That's why I always be specific. I said reggaeton came through where I was at the heart of the dance hall because, like I explained to people, you could have 1,000 Panamanian parties right here. Reggaeton is not going to come out of here. You know why?
Mm-hmm.
The producers are not going over here. The
Mm-hmm.
producers are where Gringo Man is at with Baby Quake in the heart of the dance hall. So by me being here, opening up this door, now other producers, they want, I'm not trying to record. I'm cool. I'm making money. You see, I'm promoting, I'm paying my artists. So I don't need to be back then. Let me tell you something. Do you know how much an artist was getting to perform and do one song? A
How
hundred
much?
dollars. $100.
But $100 back then was a lot.
Not for me. If I'm making eight, listen, I'm doing my own shows and I'm making 50,000, 60, $80,000, you know, in my shows. Why should I go sing for you for $100?
Right. I get what you're trying to say.
You see, I was not an artist, just an artist. I was a promoter, producer, my own sound system. I had everything.
But do you think that the reason why they chose you as a Panamanian artist is because back then a lot of the people that migrated to Panama was from Panama to the States was usually black Panamanians that were descendants from Caribbean people. Because if you think about it, Panama is not majority of us. Like the ones that were able to speak patois, the ones that were able to understand, Jamaican twang.
Hmm.
Do you think that played a major part in the reason why you were the chosen one? Because
Chosen as
you were
far as
definitely different from a Panamanian from Chiriquí.
that's right. You see, I spoke three languages: Spanish, English, patois. I performed it also. You see, because I also was doing rap in Spanish. Well, I'm an undercover master lover, never ever no other blunt smoking, non-choking, booty shaking, money make. You see, that's we were connected like that with the hip hop culture in New York. You see,
Mm-hmm.
it's a hip hop artist that wrote that and say, "Yo, I want y'all to do that in dance hall because we all rapping together."
Mm-hmm.
You see, so now they wanted me to infiltrate the hip hop market, the reggae market, the Latin market. Why? I'm in all three markets. You say, like right now, if you tell a person to say, yo, Gringo Man want to talk to you, quick, they want to open up the door. Like I went to a show, it's a carnival in Kissimmee, and Wayne Wonder was singing, and the guy that was with me told the manager, "Hey, Gringo Man want to talk to Wayne Wonder." You see what I'm saying? And he told him who I was. Boom. Fast. He gave me his number. Bam, 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 bam. He texted me again. I spoke to Wayne one and said, "Are you that?" "Oh, okay." Boom. He said, "All right." I said, "Yo, we don't have fee number already, you know." I said, boom. So now, because I said, I'm making the links now. I just got out. I'm making the links personally to make songs with these individuals. You see, because I like his voice. So I said, I
Mm-hmm.
told him, I said, "Yo, listen, I want to do something on an Afro beat. I don't want to get with you." He said, "No problem. Just I'll call you." You see,
Mm-hmm.
this is the thing. When your legacy is already engraved on the streets, a
Right.
person might not know who you are personally, but when you say who, "Oh, are you that? Are you?" Because people been talking about, but they never saw me.
Right. You were like a ghost, a
Yes,
legend, a urban legend.
yeah.
All right. GS says, Gringo Man, why on VP Records is registered Carl Miller as producer? I know Tony Keller remake to Pum Pum as musical engineer.
You see, if you know how, I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna explain to you. Like I was speaking to a Panamanian, and he didn't know this. Carl Miller recorded. I did 3 songs for Carl Miller, and I told him, I said, "Listen, put my songs out first before you even get somebody else to do the opposite of my songs." He said, "Okay." One day I happened to go to the studio, and Carl Miller has a female doing Mujer Lociono, no Lociono Amar, my song in Spanish, but the female version, Hombre Lociono, no Lociono. So I look at Carl, I say, "Yo, Carl, I want to you. You want me to tell you?" I ended up getting $2,500. Hear what I'm saying? Back then they get paid $100. I got $2,500, and he gave me back my 3 songs. I had the reel to reel for my 3 songs. You see, the corruption. What I'm letting you know how corrupt the music industry was back then. Because Sting International, we know this because when we go to the studio, we know who the engineer, we know who does that. Mikey is the one that Sting used to make sure El General was saying certain things because Sting International don't speak Spanish. So
Mm.
Michael Ellis, may rest in peace, he's the one that kept it straight and told him, "Well, he's saying this, he's saying that, he's saying," because that's what they need. That's a lot of things that a lot of people don't know. But
So Michael Ellis was from where? He was
Calle
Jamaican.
15, he was from right. right behind where I live at, 15th Street, Riobao.
He was from Panama?
Yeah, Michael Ellis, Mikey.
Oh,
Yes.
wow. Okay. Shanila de Gracia says, I love that Gringo Man has such a passion and compassion for those who may feel like they don't deserve a second chance. May God bless you, guide you, Gringo Man.
Thank you very much, Shanita. Thank you very much.
I'm telling you, everybody love you. Jamie says, respeto máximo.
Ah, you got to pay copyright for that. Respeto máximo y concreto. You forgot the respeto máximo y concreto.
And Gabriel says, Gringo Man is the first man to explain the word reggaeton. Yeah, I don't even think it's so, to me it's so crazy because I see like I don't even like comment anymore on that video anymore. But when I see people arguing in the comment sections, especially like people in like, Puerto Rican people, and I get it. Everybody's passionate about where they come from, but I hear them say, "No, we're the ones that created it. We're the one that created it." And to me personally, what I don't understand is Puerto Ricans aren't really close to the West Indians. I feel like Panamanians and Jamaicans, they have more of a relatability, which is why, reggae in Spanish would even come to play because of that relationship. So I'm happy that you came here and you explained it in depth
All right.
because there's so many missing
I'm gonna break
pieces.
it down. Reggaeton comes from the roots word reggae, the
Right.
struggle of poor people, the dissemination of information through the music. When you add the suffix is the ending, reggaeton. Tongue is big, something big. You have a big
Okay.
car, carro, carrón. You have a big house, casa, casón. You have a big head, cabeza, cabezón. You have a big reggae, reggaeton.
Big reggae.
The unification of all the cultures, nationalities, races, genres in one. The Panamanian culture that's mixed with the Caribbean culture and other
Mhm.
Latin American cultures. That's
Mhm.
what includes Puerto Rico, Colombia, all of that. That's the unification. Everything comes into one. That's why today, when you see reggaeton, you see all type of nationalities.
I don't
See,
see all type of nationalities. I'm gonna be honest with you. I keep it. I
but
you
you
know
see,
me.
when you go to a club right now in Florida, right here in Orlando, you see white people dancing reggaeton. Oh, I love this. You see black people, say Americans, they buying reggaeton. You see all nationalities. Hey, you see all nationalities. That's why it's a big reggae. You can't say reggae in Spanish. Why? Because reggae in Spanish is only for what? Spanish speaking people. That's why Mikey came up with that. Mikey said, esto ya esto se fue. It came out of that Spanish circle.
All
Now
right.
we've seen all nationalities.
Now let me ask you a question. What's the difference between plena, reggaeton, and reggae en español?
You see, is who puts a definition to it. It's the same thing because, again, reggaeton comes from the contribution of the black ethnic culture of the Republic of Panama.
That's the point that I'm
You
trying to
see,
make.
the contribution of the black ethnic culture of the Republic of Panama. For a lot of the artists in Panama, you have to realize when you try to separate yourself, that's where the la plena, la des, because what? What is the difference between El General coming from Panama to the US? Nando Boom coming from Panama to the US. Killer Brands coming from Panama to the US. Gringo Man coming from Panama to the US. Oh, but the three of them, they started down there. You see, Gringo Man started up here. But guess what? If Gringo Man didn't exist, where pregúntale al general que I spoke with him. Who would have opened the door for him? He didn't perform and compete with dancehall reggae artists. I did. A lot of them didn't do that in Spanish. They didn't have to go through that. You know why? When they came up, everything was already paved. Everything was already paved. That's why when their lack of understanding is when they brought the music, and it was accepted, they don't know that it's because from back in 1983, somebody's been paving the way for when they came. I was happy when Mikey got El General, Killer Ranks, when I met all of them. Why? Mind you, I'm a promoter. Yes, I'm an artist, but I'm a promoter also. So when I started seeing all these Panamanians, I said, man, where the hell they coming from? I'm like, because I don't see them on the streets.
Yeah.
I'm in clubs all over the place. I don't hear nobody rapping like this. Where they came from? But
Mm-hmm.
I'm happy. You see, so when, for me, I tell all of them, when I see Panamanians, the success of El General, I know, I feel good. You know why? I know I'm part of that success.
Mm-hmm.
I know that. I was with Mikey. They know Killer Ranks and all of them know that. Mikey used to call me. Mikey said, yo, ¿tú quieres cantar en este club con el general? Nah, I'm cool. You see? And if you study how I am, that's why you don't see me performing out here in any club and all of that. If I wanted to perform in all these clubs, true indeed, I'll be performing. But no, I'm not going to do that.
This is a lot of information, and it's just a lot of, you see, the story, the history is so rich, and there's so much different parts. There's so much moving elements to the story. And a lot of it, what I do will say is, because you were in New York and they were in Panama, nobody knew what each other was doing.
That's true.
No one, because I'm listening to you, I'm listening to Renato also, and I'm saying to myself, you know what? Maybe there is some truth to this. No one knew what anybody was doing. Yes, it is one Panama. We all from Panama, but no one really knew what anybody else was doing. And it's crazy to me because growing up, the Panamanian community was so small. Like everybody knew what was going on in Panama. And then it was like whatever songs like was coming out of Panama, we heard them in New York.
It's like,
So
I'll show you something. When I was in there, I'll show you something because I didn't know what was happening. I came to find out what was happening when I came out. But when I was in there was a specific artist from Panama that I heard. And I was like, Bon Buckler. I was like, yo, who the hell is this? It was
mhm,
Aldo Ranks.
mhm,
Yo,
mhm.
when I heard him, I was like, that dude. And I was shocked. I was like, yo, how come I don't see him all over the place? That dude right there is talented, Aldo Ranks. Then I was hearing a lot of other artists from Panama. And the way he plays with his vocals, because mind you, I come from the heart of the dance hall. So
Mhm.
I can tell when a person has talent. Then I heard Kafu Bantan. And
Mhm.
that's the only artist that I didn't know that actually like would left message of support for me when I was incarcerated. And that the other one that I heard was Japanese. He was helping
Mhm.
help me when I was in there. You see, when I was hearing these artists, I was like, yo, where these dudes come? Where they rapping like that? I didn't know. I actually came to find out when I started seeing Mr. Flack, Senor Flack TV show. I started seeing it, and I was like, wow. The one that really blew my mind was Danger Man. When I started
Mhm.
seeing him how he performed on stage, I said, Lord have mercy. I said, he's a force to reckon with. Yeah.
Mhm.
But we all one country. Panamanian.
Yes.
We all
Period.
it doesn't matter. And what you just showing the world right now today, that it's like you might have two Chinese brothers born in Panama. They separated, go two different countries. The father and mother are doctors and things of life. Guess what? Both of them become doctors down the road, and don't neither one know each other. And when they finally meet each other, the parents looking for them. They looking for they roots. They come to find out both of them are doctors, and their parents were doctors. That's the same thing with the Panamanian roots. It doesn't matter where you go. I tell individuals, I say, it doesn't matter where that I was in New York. Reggaeton still come from the black ethnic culture, the Republic of Panama. It's still the same thing.
Um, Carlos Savory says, You never collaborated with Panamanians. You were in New York at the beginning. You did not know about the movement in Panama, but then you promoted your music in Panama and did many shows, but you did not help or collaborate with Panamanians or your land. I think you came in late, so you missed the part when we spoke about him going to Panama for Carnival. So I think because you came in late, you missed a whole hour of the segment. So I think you should go back and watch the video from the beginning before you make these type of comments. Um, Carlos. Anyway, so this week, which I'm very happy for you, on Wednesday was the inauguration of the first museum of reggae en español.
Yeah.
And you were honored there. Weren't there, but you were honored. People were giving you your flowers while you there. How did it feel to be finally recognized for your accomplishments in Panama?
I mean, it's undescribable, because you would say that, like, you said it, nobody never, when anybody speaks, they always mention two names. They always mention two names, and they never mention my name. You see what I'm saying? And that's of, lack of knowledge, but now that I came out, for instance, a lady said to me, I would never knew that you existed if you said, I'm Panamanian, but I never knew that you existed because nobody in Panama speaks about you. The Panamanians, we in the United States, we don't speak about you. And I honestly felt like individuals wanted to my erase my history. But what God brings, no man can erase. But I felt, now to see that after 30 something years, about 32, I mean, you're gonna feel good because to actually see people that they got the book. I've seen they have the outfit that I performed.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes, yes.
and for the public, we are gonna have, because that was a stylist designed that for me. Her name is Yemi, and she's gonna actually do more of those so we can sell.
I want to say this though, and I'm just playing advocate. Could it be that no one knew because you were gone for so long? Because you weren't able to perform your songs, you weren't able to like do certain things. Could it be that because when people say out of sight, out of mind, and I'm not justifying it and saying that, oh, that's the reason why. Could that be the reason why?
You know,
Because, go ahead.
it could be that. It could be that.
Hmm.
You're right. It could be that. It could be that. And I will accept that. I will accept
Yeah.
that because when I went to Puerto Rico, you know, it was it was like out of sight, out of mind. But
Yeah.
you know who you are,
Yeah.
and we was trying to figure out, when you coming out, when we gonna see you.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And I could say that.
Because the thing is, and I see it for myself. Unfortunately, like our culture is very much trending. It's who's hot at the moment. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Because I remember 5 years ago there were certain artists that were buzzing, and now you don't hear any music from them anymore. And
You know,
so, mhm,
you know, something that I noticed from, and you could correct me if I'm wrong, because I've been seeing this always, and there's always controversy about this.
mhm,
But Panamanian artists, when they get to a position of recognition, because a lot of them never really had certain things,
mhm,
and they've never really been around individuals that had certain things.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's like, I'm here, forget the rest. But then when you do the homework with the other cultures, why do you think those cultures rise as a whole, not individually, as a whole? You know why? Because they are groomed from the bottom. And this is something, I live with a lot of Puerto Ricans in the system, and I've learned why they end up having turning reggaeton into an industry, because they are groomed from the bottom. The elders groom a lot of them from the bottom, support each other. Hey, tú vas a cantar con fulano y tal. You're going to sing with, yo, we're going to do this over here. We're going to do that over here.
Mm-hmm.
Panamanian, Michael Ellis was doing that.
Mm-hmm.
You see, Michael Ellis, for people that don't know, he invested 7 digits. He brought people with money to invest back then. That's why Panamanian was ringing. That's something that nobody speaks about, nobody knows. But who knows me? Like Killer Ranks know. Mikey goes to Puerto Rico, comes back. Hey, man. Hey, meet me over here. I want to talk to you. Why you think he calling me? Because I have the movement. He's teaching me. Michael Ellis taught me a lot.
You know what? I want to say this though. I feel like some people could be very unfair, especially to you, in the sense that when you were in New York and you were doing your thing in New York, you never really reached your full potential because you were taken away.
That's right.
You understand what I'm saying?
That's
So
right.
the comment that the person made, it kind of, I know we're supposed to be over it, but it kind of bothered me because I don't feel like that's fair. And that's unfortunately with our culture, we have a tendency of bashing people without knowing the whole entire story. It is impossible for somebody once you, okay, for example, if I'm starting out, right, before I can get to that level, I got to help me first before I can help anybody else. And that's just the way it is, period. Right?
Right.
Once you get to that level, then you could go back and then you could go bring people up. Fine. But for you in your situation, you were at that peak and
That's
you
right.
didn't get the time you didn't get the time to be able to go back and help anybody. So for that person who made that comment about, oh, you never collaborated, obviously you were working with Mikey and Mikey was Panamanian.
You see,
So
I will show you something. Even like for that individual,
mm-hmm,
and I speak and I'll say with all due respect, this is the problem that Panamanians, we as a whole have. How can you know about something you way over there and you
exactly,
don't know what's happening here? Because even the Panamanians, El General, Nando Boom, I'll use it, Killer Ranks, Tingo San, La Trevi, a lot of them, you have to be behind, you have to be on the table. I was on the table. I
exactly,
was on the table.
exactly,
You see what I'm saying?
exactly,
A lot of conversations that were critical, they weren't on that table. You know why? They were artists.
exactly,
They were
exactly.
artists. I was a promoter. I'm the one that goes out and gets, yo, Gringo, we need you to go do this. All right, no problem. Cool. May I have that. Boom. If you see how I flex, then you can tell the difference between those artists and me. You see, I don't just do things because I want to do it. I do things for the whole. You
Exactly. The
see,
bigger picture.
the bigger picture is, if I wanted to be how you call it, selfish, then you would have heard Gringo Man try to clash with El General. Gringo Man tried to clash with Nando Boom.
Exactly.
You didn't see that. You know why? I was not like that. I was happy that other Panamanians was coming because I was promoting Jamaicans. And who knows me knows that I was like, yo, you heard, yo, this dude Nando Boom, yo, you heard him? Yo, you heard Killer Ran. When I first heard Killer Ran's voice, I was like, oh shit, I gotta record him. His voice. Right. I, you know, because when you promoting, you trying to get more artists. You ain't looking about, oh, you sound, nah, you trying to get that artist to do
Mm-hmm.
something for you because you trying to win. So for him to say that, he has to realize that you have to know the history first, because
Exactly.
El General wouldn't have been where El General is at if Jaime Davidson, this person that you see right here, you see what I'm saying? If I wanted to close the door before he even flew somewhere, you see, because down in New York it was that critical. You could you could battle rap a person and destroy their career.
Mm-hmm.
You could that's how Brooklyn used to be back then.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? And I was not on that time. I was not on
Mm-hmm.
that time. I was on the time I'm going to help my people rise.
Mm-hmm.
See, so you don't really know what was happening in Brooklyn, because
Mm-hmm.
if you knew, and Killer Ranks, you could go look for Killer Ranks, and he gonna tell you. That's how he met me. Mikey called me to introduce me, and I already knew who the General was because he was Franco. He wanted to perform. He wanted to practice on my sound system. I could have told him. I could, because I spoke to him. I said, "You remember when you first came? You wanted to practice on the sound system with El Panameño." Say, "Yeah, you know that was me, huh?" He said, "Sí, sí, sí, yo sé que será tú." Boom. I could have said, "Yo, what I told you, yo, nah, turn that shit off. Yo, listen, get out." I said, "No." Once he said he's Panamanian, Vigor,
Exactly.
I told him, "All right, cool." I just didn't
And
want nobody else to know where my studio was at.
but let me tell you something, and this is for people who never lived in New York, and they're saying, "Oh, the Panamanians don't support." The Panamanians from New York always help out other Panamanians, and like you said, if somebody needed a job and they knew another Panamanian that worked in a certain place, they were gonna get that job off of the strength of the other Panamanian.
I got
Lastimosamente, la gente hablan sin saber,
look at
y
this.
eso no debería ser.
In 1987, they have a Panamanian man named Ernie. He worked in downstate hospital mailroom. He told my mother, "Tell your son to go to this temp office and
Hmm.
ask for a job, and I'm gonna pull him." A
Exactly.
Panamanian pulled another Panamanian, and I went to
Exactly.
work in downstate mailroom, downstate
Hmm.
hospital mailroom. You see, and that's how it is. You see, and even Panamanians that out there, they know me. I save a lot of Panamanians' life in prison. Yes, you see what I'm saying, and they can attest to that too.
Hmm.
Because I used to say, not on my watch. I'm a Panamanian. You see what I'm saying? I'm out the way, but you're not gonna do nothing to a Panamanian while I'm in here.
Hmm.
You see what I'm saying? So you can't speak like that. And
Exactly.
Panamanians in New York, they help each other. They help
Yes.
each other. A lot of
Yes.
Panamanians, when you read my book, you're gonna see who was helping me. When they found out I was Panamanian, you're gonna see they saved my life. Panamanians saved my life when I was gonna get killed, and they were gonna take my sound system when I was coming with the truck. Read the book. Before you
Hmm.
say that, read the book.
Exactly. Big up to Great Good News Jamaica. Okay. TV. He says, but he has the time and opportunity now to do all of this. We celebrate his freedom and his drive to do well for the industry.
Respect. Respect.
And Good News Jamaica also says collaboration has been in his blood from the beginning. He collaborated to create reggaeton. Look into that. He was always ready to collaborate. He made the movement for everyone to get a piece. So big up to you, Good News Jamaica. I'm gonna assume that you were there at that time because the person is speaking. I don't know if it's a woman or a female, they're talking as if they were there. So I
And they
want to
were
say
there. You
that.
see, and that's what I said. The streets know the truth.
Uh huh.
You know what I'm saying? The streets, that individual, that person right there from Good News Jamaica, they were there. You see what I'm saying? They were
Yeah.
there. You see, and they know the truth.
GS says you right, V Girl TV. I was living there and all Panamanians helped together. Yeah, I know because I was one of those where when I needed something, my mother would be like, "Oh, let me call Fulana Hatal and let me ask her or if she could help you do this." And all the Panamanians in the states helped each other.
Look
Okay.
until listen. My mother, I used to always mess with my mother. Any state that I landed, my mother would open up her Rolodex. And she said, "Oh, I won't call such and such. She live over there, so and such and
Yes.
such." And guess
Yes.
what? That Panamanian family will come and visit me in that
Yes.
state, in that prison.
Yes. What
Yes.
you're talking about is 100% facts. So when I hear people talking like that, to me, I take it personal because I'm like, you don't even really know what you're talking about because I was there, I lived it, I'm still living it to this day. One
And
of the
look,
things.
I want
Mhm.
to make this clear that when I went to Puerto Rico, I am a Panamanian. You see what I'm saying? I'm a Panamanian. Instead of Panamanians happy to see that Puerto Rico recognized Panama, not Gringo Man, Panama, they were upset.
I think it's not all the Panamanians, it's certain
But a lot of
Panamanians.
them, you see, one thing about me, I call an ace and a spade because we got to stop doing this.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? In order for Panamanians to rise, because when I was over there, I spoke to a big artist, and he was like, "Gringo, we'd love to be, collaborating with a lot of Panamanians, but man." And I understand that I'm Panamanian, and guess what? I'm living it, carne y hueso. You see what I'm saying? When I went to Panama, it wasn't, you know, the people said it. Sometimes you have to because we got to educate and we have to stop. We have to educate. And I tell people, I say, when you start talk behind people's back, no, tell them faithfully. You see what I'm saying? We have to educate the public. You see what I'm saying? Because when you educate the public, then other artists will hear and say, you know something, he's right. I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna do this and start helping my people.
Let me tell you something. And I don't know if I ever told anybody this on the channel, but what you saying is, I can't even say 100. It's more than 100, 1,000% true. I have a friend that has a magazine, and his magazine is very big. He has a lot of like Vibes Cartel was on the magazine cover. Marshall Montano from
From
Trinidad was on the
Trinidad, yes,
cover.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
He always has like major artists, right? So he says to me, yo, I feel like Panama isn't represented. Get me a Panamanian artist and I'm going to put the person on the cover. All they have to do is give me a biography. I said, okay, no problem. I reached out to my friend. I'm like, hey, such and such or whatever. Um, get them because I'm going to get them a cover on a magazine. This is like a big cover. Now, this magazine is a digital magazine, and that magazine gets over 70,000 views per day on their platform.
Mm.
I'm not talking about Instagram. I'm talking about the website itself. They have a digital version and they have a printed copy, but mostly people go to the website to read the articles. So at the time, this magazine didn't have 1 million followers on Instagram, but they were doing numbers on the website where people were reading up on them. So I reached out to the person. I'm like, hey, get this person or whatever. They just got to send me a biography and a picture, and they're gonna be on the cover of the magazine. They don't gotta do nothing. This artist never, the management company, because I can't even say it was the artist, because from what I heard, it was the manager. The manager said that the artist was working with some company and they decided not to do the article. So I'm saying to myself, wow, like that's crazy, because right now in this day, right now, the artist isn't even really doing much. This would have been an amazing, amazing opportunity for this artist, for representation of Panama, representation for music coming out of Panama. But the lack of knowledge amongst our people is what keeps us behind, and why other countries and other cultures are taking what started here in Panama, because the lack of, I don't want to say intelligence because that's rude, but the ignorance.
Lack
It's
of
the
knowledge.
ignorance.
You see, why do you think, for people that don't know, why do you think I went to Panama and did my first EP in Panama? Everybody wanted to know where I was going to record. I could have recorded with Sting International, Mr. Do in Jamaica. I could have recorded in New York. You know what I did? I flew to Panama and I started
Mhm.
recording with Panamanian producers.
Mhm. Mhm.
Cannabis. I recorded with Cannabis. I recorded with Macon the Great. Macon. I recorded with Rude Boy. I recorded also with AT Fat. Panamanian producers, Panamanian artists. You see, why? Because I wanted people to look what toward Panama.
Mhm.
You see, I could have just stayed and produced with the producers out here, you know. But
Mhm.
now I'm working with Emil Connection, so I'm gonna be traveling to Puerto Rico. I'm recording, and I have the song. I got a song coming out with Baby Rasta and Gringo, and I'm the first Panamanian that they ever collaborated with, and it's coming out in Baby Rasta and Gringo album, a song with
Mhm.
me and them.
I'm proud of you. I am proud of you because you have experienced so much obstacles. There was so many deterrents to make you say, you know what, forget this. But you kept pushing. So whatever you want from God, from your mouth to God's ears, is gonna happen. Unfortunately, we can't change everybody in one day, but hopefully with just one person, we can actually make a difference. And that's the reason why I kind of do these lives and these interviews on Tuesdays, is for some way somehow that we could always we could try to reunite, regardless if we were Panamanian here, and never left the States, or we were in the States Panamanian, we still won Panama.
You gonna remember me when you get 1 point something million subscribers. You gonna tell me, you know something, Gringo Man, believe me, and he told me about that. You
Well,
see,
I believe in you too.
I'm thank you. You know, one thing, the faith that I have when I go through adversities, I just smile because I know, like I tell people, God didn't bring me out through all that what I went through in there.
Mhm.
You see, and people just will look at me and think they looking for a certain look to
Mhm.
certify what they're looking for.
Mhm.
But God knows, and the people that was around me know. You see what I'm saying? That God brought me through, and whatever I'm facing, even today, I know I'm gonna, I know I'm gonna overcome all of that
But
because
but but but
you
but
know,
but.
because I tell people, I say, if I went through 12 federal penitentiaries, the death penalty, all of that, murders in all these different prisons, and I was raising funds, going through all of that. Chaos is happening in the prison, and I'm talking about, hey, I need $20 from you right now. Hey, I need this right now. I'm working to do something with Rene Renegado in Panama. I'm looking for some supporters to do that because, again, I want to help the youth down there in Panama also.
Mhm.
You see, so I tell people, don't let the looks fool you. You see what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Because God will bring me through. You see, and me, I won't complain because I know every obstacle, every heartache and pain, everything that goes through my mind, my life, it only happens to me to make me stronger. That's all it does.
Mhm.
Break me, it's not gonna break me. God
Mhm.
is right there with me. It's not gonna break me.
Amen. Wow. This was powerful, guys. Wow. For those of you who are coming in late, I advise you to come catch the replay. I just want to let everybody know that Jaime Gringo Man, he has a book with detailing his events. I want everybody to check it out. It's on Amazon. After this live ends, I'm going to leave the link in the description box so that you guys can go ahead and purchase that book from Amazon. It's definitely a great read. We have comments saying that we need to have a collaboration. Um, we need to have a Caribbean Connection album and pick some veteran artists from Panama and artists from Jamaica and do a whole LP. Yes, I'm here for it.
You know, you
Everybody
know,
is putting
all
up
that.
fires.
See, they late in a lot of these things. You see, but I ain't gonna get into I'm not gonna get in too much
No, don't
because
say
I know
much.
I'm gonna tell you something. Sky is beyond the limit. You see, like now. you see, you're gonna be hearing a lot about Gringo Man working. You see what I'm saying? And the best thing is success always takes care of everything. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
So that's
Yes.
that's all I got to say. Just hold on tight, because what's coming, you're not gonna believe.
We're
Fear
holding.
foundation to exonerate through habeas reform. That's my foundation. I'm starting a new movement with it to raise over a million signatures to change a law that's incarcerating a lot of innocent people. You see, and that is a pledge that I pledged to a lot of the prisoners that I was going to come out and I was going to help them. And thank God that's what I'm doing. Because, like I tell people, all a man got in this world, all a human being has in this world, its name, its word, and its reputation. You see,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
I'm showing I'm a man of my word because I got the foundation now. And now I got everything working, and I'm going to work in Panama. I'm going to work out of Orlando, and what's coming, to help a lot of the youth and change these laws and help the people, help the youth, help the community, educate. Because one thing you got to realize, the people perish because of what? Lack of knowledge.
Yes.
Lack of knowledge. They say
Yes.
if you want to hide, if you want to hide something from a
Put it
black
in a
man,
book.
put it in a book. Guess what? When I was in there, I read all in different books. You see what I'm saying? Newspapers a year old. I would read it. You see what I'm saying? It's new news to me. Everybody from V Girl TV, yo, respect 40 at 14. Gringo Man the original, the seed of reggaeton. La semilla reggaeton.
I'm so happy. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. If you're coming in, catch the rerun or the replay. Sorry. Anyway, guys, thank you, Gringo, for coming through. This was amazing. This was amazing conversation, and I cannot wait to see what you have coming up next.
And please put the link in Spanish also.
I'm gonna
Put
do it
the
as soon
link
as we.
of the book in Spanish. It's 5 stars. The book has 5 stars. Everybody that start reading it, they can't put it down.
I'm going to put the link as soon as we close this out and it process. The link will be in the description box so that you guys literally just have to click it and that's it. All right, guys. Thank you for always
Okay.
tuning
Poeta,
in.
I'm coming soon. Japanese, I'll be down there soon to do that video. Don't worry. Emil Connection,
And
Puerto
can y'all put
Rico.
some black people, black girls in y'all videos, please? Thank you.
You didn't see the first video that I had?
No, but I
You
know
see
every
that?
artist,
You see that? The
every
first video that I
artist.
did when I was in Panama. You need to go back and listen to Traleyendo de Gales remix that I did in Panama. And guess who made the rhythm? Dennis the Menace, Mr. Tumpa Tumpa himself. That's the first time that El Dembow rhythm, that Traleyendo de Gales rhythm also was remade by the original producer that produced that track.
Okay.
And that video has a lot of black girls in it.
Well, I'm gonna go check it out because I'm tired of seeing these reggaeton videos, talking about reggae music, Jamaican culture,
Ah,
and I don't see no black woman. You can't be talking about Empress, and I'm not seeing no Empress there.
you see,
Okay.
I just had to check you on your own show. You
No,
need
I'm talking about now.
you need to go see that video.
I'm
That
not talking
video
about back
has a
then.
lot. Look. Trilla Lord has a lot of black women. You see,
Oh,
you
I'm not
see.
talking. I'm talking about now.
But
Now.
that video is still fresh. That video is
No,
still
I
fresh.
I want. So
The video, I'm
when you
not
come.
talking about the song. I'm talking about the remix of
Oh,
the song with the video. I did, and I recorded the video in Panama. In
okay.
Panama.
Jen Williams says thank you because she know what I'm talking about. We gonna see. I hope the next video that you do here in Panama, I see some women of color.
Okay. So, guess what? Guess what? This is what we're gonna do. So you can see women of color. You see, we gonna be in the bar. Start drinking orange juice.
No.
So you could come out. So you could come out with the V girl. Yeah, interview me in the video. That way you
Yeah.
don't have nothing to complain about.
I don't want to see. I need to see black woman, kinky hair, big nose, wide lips. That's what I need
Okay.
to see.
Okay, you're
Thank
gonna be
you.
the first one they're gonna see in the video when we go down there.
All right. Don't play with me because if you
I'm
come
dead
down here
serious.
and I'm not in your video, I'm gonna text you. I'm be like,
That's what you gotta realize with me. I'm dead serious. You see, you know why that that very question that you were saying, I have a problem with that. I have a
Oh,
problem
okay.
with that.
Okay.
You see, that's why when I went down there and they was like, "Hey, we can go to an agency," I said, "Stop, time out. I don't want no agency dancers." I said, "Get me the dancers from the street that are professional dancers." You see, and I've specifically told them I want to see some black girls.
Oh,
You see,
okay.
because they cut up. They can cut up. Just
All
like
right.
girls upside down and doing acrobats and all of that. Yes.
Okay. I'm just
Okay.
saying. I've been in the gym, so
Okay.
yeah. Everybody in here saying yes, yes, big girl, be in the
To all
video,
of
so don't play.
to all of your followers, she's gonna be in the next video when I go down there. Poeta, remind me. Poeta, remind
And I
me.
don't want to be the black girl twerking either. I need a
No.
classy.
You gonna have your V girl thing. We gonna be sitting down drinking orange
Oh,
juice because I don't
okay.
drink.
Okay. Good.
Okay.
All right. All right, guys. Thank you for tuning in to the video. I love you guys. You guys are awesome. Thank you for tuning in. Check it on the replay. And we're out.